Mexico City's mascot team be presenting the National Hockey League's newest team, the Mexico City Masonries.
I like that. I like their flag, like the Mexican flag has like it's not the bald eagle, it's like the golden eagle, isn't it?
Yeah. I did notice a lot of other countries how they have the different eagle, because the Philippines, they have an eagle as well for their official bird. But
Really?
I guess it's like a more domesticated one.
There's a lot of eagles. I like how Canada, they got the beaver. I think that's a weird national mascot to have.
True. I thought it was a moose at first, but now that you're saying, it's like, yeah, it probably is a beaver.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Does that mean Buc-ee's is a Canadian company? They're representing Canada at truck stops.
What's Buc-ee's? Is that like
Oh, it's like one of these like gigantic those gas
the one
stations.
in Texas?
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
That apparently I've learned from friends, like over 100 gas stations. And then you have like the convenience stores the size of like a supermarket.
I like YouTube's algorithm, like, because they recommend me some weird videos. That was one I got the other day. It was like a trucker like YouTube page, so I kind of like went through and like looked at some of his videos. He had one where he went into like, and he was like reviewing the food at the Buc-ee's gas station, because that's like the mega convenience store, right? Yeah.
It's
so
the really giant size one.
Yeah, so he was like reviewing it, and he said it was good. I mean, I don't know if you're a trucker, like I don't know if you're eating like mainly gas station food. I don't know how
I'm sure there's like some aggregated list of trucker cuisine.
Yeah.
It's like how we got to rate it along the way. Well, I'm sure Wawa's is up there because I hear people in New Jersey and Pennsylvania jerk off to that place. So it's like, okay. It's like Wawa's is the thing. Something with I forgot what it is, like a pelican or swan.
Yeah.
Whatever the heck it is.
We had Town Pump and Maverick. Maverick was like one of my favorite like gas station foods.
Okay.
And then Town Pump, they had really good corn dogs.
This seems like more of a small town thing where it's like some of the better deals you'll find at the gas stations for food.
And the grocery store, we had Chester's fried chicken. That's like a small town thing, I think.
Yeah.
Like a lot of small towns, they don't have KFC, they don't have Popeyes, but they got Chester's fried chicken.
Maybe they got like one of those places. Maybe it's like one of them. Oh, Chester's. That's probably definitely a regional thing.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. My mom loves it.
In like my mindset, I feel like one of those regional businesses would be perfect because you're not too concentrated on a whole place.
Yeah.
You kind of specialize in your area.
Yeah.
Like I know not exactly an example, but let's say like Raising Cane's. I know they're not everywhere nationwide, though they're expanding. Mm-hmm. It's like you specialize in your own area, you dominate that, you get your reputation there. So when it's like KFC, it's like, no, KFC's not the thing to do here. Cane's is available if you want freaking breaded chicken.
Yeah.
Or fried chicken. I can't remember. Is there really a difference? I'm not as much of a foodie to know if there's really a difference between fried, breaded. I thought it's just all the same.
I don't know. It's interesting, like, because then it's like regional, you get like regional recipes. Like there's certain areas of the country where they prefer like different, like it's the same meal, but they prefer it like in different ways. Like even you like look at pizza, like I mean like New York pizza, Chicago pizza.
Or even sandwiches across like the country, you'll find different types of sandwiches. I mean, obviously that's probably based off of the different people that like came there, what type of foods they brought. Because I guess I learned barbecuing, the reason it's so big in Texas, or I mean in the South really, a lot of Germans went there. And I guess barbecuing's the thing with Germans. Yeah. Obviously I should realize with a freaking bratwurst. It makes sense.
Yeah. That is like because I mean like German, like my grandma, she was like German. She grew up on like a ranch like out in North Dakota, but like they would make like nifla, sauerkraut, and sausage. Like that was like their big like celebration meal. Oh, so like growing up, that's what she would make. So it's like, I mean, as white dudes, we don't have a lot of culture, but I mean, like that is like the one piece of culture I have from my grandparents.
Exactly. If you have it within like 2 to 4 generations, you probably have something in there.
Yeah.
I know with my grandma, it's like these Swedish meatball things. It's like you got to put like a certain type of bread into it.
Yeah.
Like you had like a certain type of meat too, like ground turkey and beef or something like weird like that. But it works better than just doing regular. So I was like, all right, I guess this went through.
Yeah.
Oh, and then like cardamom bread, like that Swedish coffee bread stuff, that as well.
Yeah, that's good.
But that's because she owned a cafe when she first got, well, not when she first got here, but like at some point and such. It's like some Swedish cafe, I guess, in Oakland. Obviously not the place you would expect a Swedish cafe.
Was it like what all would they serve there?
It was like the bakery stuff, or kind of, I don't know if it was exactly kind of like a diner experience, but more of that, I guess it was like the bakery style. It was more that targeted. I didn't know exactly what it was. I'd have to even find where the address was.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I love it when you see like just out of place restaurants. Like, I mean, like it's like regional, like you're like, I wouldn't expect it, but then you like go in and it's like, this is really good.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's like some of those, like they have like a twist on the food, or it's just like a different type of cuisine you wouldn't expect in the area. Like, let's just say in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, you found a good Afghan restaurant there. Yeah. You kind of wonder, it's like, why is there a good Afghan restaurant here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming?
Well, I was out in Maine, like I worked a summer camp out there, and there was a lot of, they had like a lot of big like refugee population, and so like they had like a lot of good like what was it? Like they had a lot of like Northern African, like a lot of good like Northern African restaurants.
There was are we talking about like Egypt, Morocco, like that type, or like the Gold Coast where it's like Senegal, Nigeria?
I can't even. I don't want to say the country because I don't know. I don't remember the country, and I don't want to guess. But it was that was good though. It was good. That's all I remember about
Northern Africa. It might be Moroccan food. I know that stuff's good.
Yeah. I think it may have been Sudanese, but...
True. If it was Sudanese, it could be how they all complain about the different types of jollof there, which I learned.
Really?
It's like the rice, the different types of meat, and maybe you put a few vegetables with it. And so I guess there's no consensus on the perfect one, and people weirdly... I didn't realize it. Like, people from there weirdly like to... friendly debate about like the correct jollof. It's like, oh no, we do it correct here in Senegal. Oh no, we do it correct here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's kind of interesting. So it's like, oh, it's like how people do barbecue here. It's like, oh, Kansas City barbecue's the best. Now I like Nashville.
Yeah.
And that kind of relation's like, okay, they're not too different from us. They complain about their cuisine and think we're the right ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of, I forgot it was... Oh, what you said about the summer camp. It's like, you definitely have the look of someone who could definitely do the summer camp job. I'm sure, was it younger kids, like a summer camp with them? I'm sure they loved you.
So it was like 8 through 18. My cabin was like 13, 14-year-olds.
You're tall. They definitely love you.
I don't know. I think they love me. It was cool. I mean, like, because it was like that. I mean, that was the longest time up to that point I spent out of Montana. So it was like, you know, my other counselors were all from like Europe, and you know, it was just cool. Like, I mean, it was way different than what I was used to. So, and I got to hike like for a living for a summer. So I was just taking kids on hikes every day. It was pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, that now that seems somewhat more enjoyable. It's like you get to do some of that stuff, explore it a little.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have to like deal with them responsibilities, but okay. And I'm sure that was like a good experience. So your first time going out of Montana was for camp counseling?
For like an extended, like I traveled a lot like when I was young, but it was like...
You're saying like a week or more.
Yeah. I think up until that point it was about... I'd say maybe like a month. That was probably the longest.
Okay, so you did spend some time out at other places, but like very extended stay. Like you got to pack more than just one suitcase.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was good.
That type. But there are even some people where they do a 5-day trip and they're already packing 2 suitcases.
Yeah, I was like, I went under the impression like I was like, all right, I'm just gonna buy stuff when I got out there. So my sister, she was living in Boston at the time. And so I spent a couple days out with her, went around, got to see Boston, and then went up to Maine with like a backpack, or not even a backpack. It was like a duffel bag and a backpack. And by the time I got up there, I just bought everything like up there. Like I bought the sleeping bag up there. I bought like I got like a backpacking backpack up there. It was just like, I was like, I'm not going to fly across the country.
With this stuff.
With all this stuff, yeah. It was pretty crazy.
But then again, did you fly back with it?
So what I did, so I went to Iceland afterwards because it was like,
oh damn,
flights to Iceland at the time. I always wanted to go to Iceland. And I was like looking for a trip to do because when you're working a summer camp, you're not spending a lot of money. You're not making a lot of money, but I mean, you don't have to spend on rent. You don't have to spend on food really. So I like looked up trips to Iceland. It was like $200, just about round trip. So it was like 180 to fly from Boston to Iceland, and then
okay.
I think it was like probably like 200 some to fly Iceland to Seattle.
And when did that happen around? Because I know the like Iceland traveling there, it's relatively cheap somewhat. Obviously now people want to go there because they want to see the volcanoes.
Yeah. So I didn't realize it at the time. Like I was like 22, so it was like 2018. I didn't realize that flights are very cheap to get there, but once you get there, everything is insanely expensive. Like I think the subway there, like, I mean, like, just like for instance, like the subway, it was like $20 for like a sandwich and a drink, and I was like, this is expensive. So I mean, the first couple days, I was like, I don't want to spend this money, so I just walked around Iceland, like, or Reykjavik, like that was like all I did is I was just walking around the city and like I was trying not to spend money. I did stand up over there, so I was getting a lot. They would pay me in like free drinks a lot of times, so that was
oh damn.
So I was like,
you went out hunting for seals. It's like you had to catch some food.
I did catch a couple seals, yeah.
It's like, hey, we got to find a way. We are saving money here, all right?
Yeah,
we're trying to find balling on a budget right here.
I have warrants for my arrest out there because I took a couple narwhals hostage, and
oh, you went against the endangered animals.
I'm a killer.
I'm fine with the narwhal stuff, but the endangered seals, come on now, Zach.
I don't even know if narwhals are up there.
I think they kind of go around there because they're near Greenland, so they'll get close to there, depending on their migration patterns. Maybe with the whole climate change, they'll move around more.
Yeah. So what? When after like I kind of bit the bullet, I like rented a car, and like I drove around like the southern coast, and I just got a tent because it was like $60 to rent a tent. I was like, oh hell yeah.
$60 to rent a tent?
Yeah. So it was just like a 1-person tent. So I was like going to these random campgrounds and just like setting up shop. And then same thing. Like, I mean, like I didn't want to spend money once I got there. So I was like, yep, I'm just going to walk around. I went to the hot springs and I met like a group of people like who were also tourists. And they're like, yeah, we're going to go on this horseback riding tour. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And got out there and they're like, yeah, it's $200. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just going to set up my tent. I'm going to head out.
Exactly. I could do this back home. Why do I need horseback riding?
Yeah.
Unless I'm riding an elephant seal, this is nothing new for me.
And I'm like, I am scared of horses. So, I mean, like, it was like, I did not want to do it anyway. So it was like, as soon as they said the price, I'm like, I'm good.
Oh, is it the active riding or the horse itself? Like, you don't know what it's going to do?
It's a mixture of both. I rode a lot, like, when I was a kid. Okay. Like, I did a couple, like, horseback riding trips, and it was like, I did not like it. And then as I got older, I started hearing more and more about like people who I knew like getting in like horse accidents, and they're powerful. I am not. They're one of the animals. Moose, horses, probably bears. Those are probably like my top 3.
The scariest animals to you. Not a tiger, but all these other ones.
I'm never going to encounter a tiger unless I'm not jumping in a zoo pen anytime
Exactly.
soon.
You're not doing that. You're not going to India. You're not provoking the tiger that's at the San Francisco Zoo.
Yeah.
Like those. I remember when that happened around me on Christmas Day some years ago. These people were teasing the tiger and it got out of its cage.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, they had to shoot the tiger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it like came out like later on. They were teasing it because people were wondering why did the tiger escape.
I've seen people like tease animals at the zoo though, so that's impressive. Like that they got like I would be interested to know like what they did to get the tiger out. Like what broke its back.
Oh, on that day, I don't know like what expressions they were doing it to it or how they were getting its attention.
Yeah,
but I guess it was in some way that it just decided to. I think also they found out later the barrier, kind of the safety barrier, was not up to code. They found that as well.
Oh, that's good. That's the one animal you probably want it. You want it to be like at the top. Like you want it to be over code. You don't want it to be even at the minimum code. Like being under, that's.
I can imagine being the inspector. It's like over 100 different exhibits you've inspected for safety. It's like, we're off by one, but we can't remember which one it is. And you have to keep circulating through. You never find out till the tiger escapes. It's like, oh, it's this one.
Oh, I knew I missed something. Meanwhile, the flamingos have been like, they are above and beyond their
they
safety.
have like electrical wire around them.
I love that.
So it's good that you didn't want to get a injury from a horse out in Iceland. I feel that would definitely be a sour part on the trip.
Yeah, that would. I'd still be over there. I would.
So, you'd just be. It's like I'm just gonna die here. I'm done here.
Yeah.
It's like R.I.P. My journey of my life ends in Reykjavik.
That was like, I was expecting to, like, the city is crazy because it's like so isolated. Like, I mean, like I like came back like to Montana and I was like, we're good. Like, I mean, like we can drive to Spokane. Like I was living in Missoula at the time. I was like, that is, I at least have something. Whereas like there, it's like 200 some thousand, 300 some thousand people.
You would be glad not to be on an island.
Yeah. I don't think I could do the island.
No, same here. I don't think I could because it's the whole thing. I think as you found out, be there, it's just so isolated and everything that even you feel being from such a relatively isolated state, it's like, well, at least I could drive some places.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we don't realize, or maybe even other places don't realize how big the U.S. is in size.
Yeah.
So much how I remember telling some friends in England about, it was easy for me to drive like 6 hours or something. And we're like, if you drive 6 hours in any direction, you're going to go into the water.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in the country, it's like you will go in the water.
Yeah, you're just going in a circle.
So it's like thinking in my head, it's like, shit, most states are bigger than them.
Yeah.
Even though apparently they're like some prestigious country and all, whatever. They could probably fit in the size of Florida, but they think they're so hoity-toity.
Mm-hmm. Well, I went to... I'm always like fascinated. Like I like looking up like isolated islands, like isolated places. Like we went to St. Kitts when I was like in high school, and that's like an island where it's not very populated. It's like 8,000 people. It's a really small island.
It's like the Carribean. It's like with
yeah. And then it's like southern Caribbean, so it's not even like you got to go a ways before you're getting anything. Like there's not really like a commercial airport. Like you're gonna have to go on a boat, and it's just like I would go absolutely crazy like living there. But like there are people like, I mean, like that's like all they've known, so it's like they're good with it, like they love it.
And they were adapted into it.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things you don't realize how abnormal it is for people to live differently or vice versa until you go to those places and such. Kind of like how in some of those South Asian countries, they think it's weird that they give women a choice with marriage and they don't just arrange it.
Yeah, I mean, that's different culturally. Like it makes sense. I mean, like it's basically like, I can understand different cultures for sure.
It's less based on geography and more of just how they choose to live in general.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like restricted because obviously if you're restricted to an island, you probably don't have too many different jobs other than something to do with like fishery.
Yeah.
Or forestry, whatever on the island. But yeah, one of those bigger places or different environments. It's obviously like on a mainland, it's like, you have access to the water. There's also probably inland stuff to do. So a wider range of, I guess you could say like the economy or just how it works and such. Shit, you said it was like 8,000 people there? Yeah, there are some like companies and like just moderately suburban towns that hire more people than that entire island.
Yeah, like Walmart headquarters is Walmart. Probably.
I was gonna say there's probably an Amazon warehouse.
That's true.
There's probably, I don't know which one, but there's probably one that has more people than that entire country.
That's it. Pretty soon, like that's like the warehouse. They just set it up in low populated islands.
They just find it around the world. They just find islands, those small islands, just to set up one of those distribution centers.
Well, there's one. It's like in the middle of the Atlantic. YouTube suggested it to me. It's like it used to be a British island,
Oh, really?
And
maybe
it's like...
Maybe it was one of those islands that Richard Branson bought.
I don't know, but it was like 500, 600 people living on the island. They never lock their doors. They all they have like I forget the word for it, but I guess it's basically a community farm. So like they all just have like a plot of land, they farm off of it, and then like if someone has like more carrots growing than the other person, they just give the other person more carrots.
Oh, communal gardening.
Communal garden, yeah.
Okay, that's all right.
And I think, I don't know, that would be such a simple way to, like, I mean, like, that's all you got to worry about is, like, just, like, you know, farming for the day.
But I think it's like, as you said, it's like that's what they know, because they don't know stuff beyond that. I mean, hell, they don't know about doing open mics and stuff and going to different places for that.
They did have open mics. They're like, what's
okay.
the deal with carrot farming?
They have their own style of comedy out here in St. Kitts. And... yeah, I do think about that. Well, because you also think other things. They probably don't have as similar words and stuff. They're probably not thinking. I'm trying to think like a prime example of what it could be.
Well, even like financial, because I mean, like if you got your house, you got like your food and stuff. Like I mean, you're probably not stressing it. It's not. You don't have
stock markets. Like they don't care about like stock markets. They could care less about what goes on with that.
They could all very well just be doing like under the table offshore trading though. That would actually be really fun.
Honestly, they probably are doing a lot with that, because I want to say like the British Virgin Islands, they found out like their GDP is like 5 times larger than it should be based off of how many people just store their money there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's like I was watching Pain and Gain the other day, like the one, I forget the actor's name, but the guy who they kidnap, and they were, like he was saying, like, he's like, yeah, I store everything in the Caribbean, and it's like, that's
a really great place to go when you just need to hide away for a bit. Kind of like when John McAfee went there when the government was going after him with tax evasion, and he stayed in Belize because I think he knows, like, Belize, they're not as U.S. friendly somewhat. Like, I know, like, if there's, like, a U.S. drone, they can't go over Belize airspace. So a lot of drug traffickers, when they fly the planes with the drugs, they'll go over Belize.
Really?
Yeah, so then the U.S. can't track them.
Oh. I have a shipment I need to call.
All right, now you know we're gonna set up a distribution center for this supply chain.
That's actually what this is. This isn't a podcast. It's just an interview that you're wired into. Be like, all right, we got his answers recorded.
You've been a sleeper cell by the FBI set up here to catch me in the act of setting it up.
Yeah.
Because you know, with my job, I work at the anti-money laundering field, so it's like, all right, this is how we're gonna launder this money through. This is how we're gonna get it out here into Belize.
I love it.
Also, what works for Belize, their official language is English.
Really?
Yeah, so you don't have to like learn a different language either.
You're selling me on Belize. I'm gonna immigrate there. I did. Have you looked at immigrating before? Have you ever like looked into it?
A little bit and stuff, like different countries seeing the requirements, or even citizenship, looking at different countries. I've never looked at, let's say, just like living for an indefinite period of time, not as like getting citizenship, but it would kind of interest me and such. I guess it's like when you get into those places, when you move anywhere and stuff, you kind of just like fit yourself in through the door, and then after being there some time, it's like, okay, now I know what I kind of want my living situation to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
I looked when I was like going to school, because I didn't know like what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I was gonna go initially. I did look at Jamaica for a while because they had a news station there.
Oh, really?
And I was studying journalism, so I was like, ooh, that would be kind of fun to be like working at a broadcast in Jamaica. And then the other thing was just like looking in. I love Calgary, like that's one of my favorite cities. So I was like, all right.
I would love to see you on a Jamaican radio station. Oh, I would love that.
I would be good. I think I don't know what like it was like sports. That's what I was like covering at the time. So
you were gonna have a talk show where you have people call in.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want to talk about here?
I do bobsled stuff, just all talking about bobsledding.
It's the bobsled hour with Zach Allen.
Yeah.
Here on Jamaica's top radio station, 95.3, The Tree.
I like that.
Speak the Tree, yeah. How it is. You can find your own setup there out in Jamaica. You talk about that. Usain Bolt.
They don't have. I'm trying to think. That's about the only athlete I can think of right now.
And occasionally tipping on reggae.
That's true. The soccer team is not that good this year, right? They missed out on. Yep.
I want to say they were even at the bottom of the table too, the whole standings.
Yeah.
For qualifying for the World Cup.
Oh, I'm so excited for it.
I mean, those like kind of like island nations, they don't care for as much as like some other stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, they pay attention to other stuff. Like I know they have fans of club teams a lot there, but you'll get that anywhere. You'll get that in places like Nepal too, and you'll never see them qualifying for the World Cup.
But then you look at like cricket. Like I mean, like there's a lot of like those island countries that are consistently like some of the top cricket teams in the world.
It is, yeah. I want to say it's like it's like the West Indies competing with one team, and it's a bunch of those islands and such. Well, that's just former colonies and such.
Yeah.
Like you look at all those because what is it? It's Pakistan, India, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, all places British. Good job with you, stupid British people. You made these countries jerk off to cricket instead of other sports. There's other stuff around, damn it. I mean, they do like in other countries. They also have rugby as well. I feel weird actually now knowing the rules of cricket now, so when I pay attention to it, it's like, I understand what's going on.
I did watch a documentary on the rules of cricket, and it's pretty cool. I want to get into it because like you look at like the production value that goes in. I think it was like the Premier League,
the Indian Premier League.
Yeah, like the production value, it's insane. It's so cool, like what they put into cricket, and I mean, like you think like American football, you think like, you know, American sports like put a lot of production into like their events. I mean, you look at like what cricket does, it's so much better.
Oh, that's Indian media production. It's all about pizzazz, putting everything off. Like if you see their news stations, there's just chyrons of information moving all the time, and you can never read it because it's always just moving and moving and moving.
I love it.
They like to just do that, like just so much energy and information into it.
I love it.
But I learned with like cricket, it only happens like 2 to 3 months is their season. It's very short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had an American that I think he was the first one ever to make it, and then after that, it did creep into my mind. I was like, "There's a possibility I could be a professional cricket player." So I did. This was like a day, like I mean, like where I looked it up and I looked around like leagues that I could play in Phoenix, and I was like, "I'm gonna do this." And then it was about like 24 hours later. I'm like, "It's just a pipe dream. I'm not gonna be able to be a professional cricket player."
Reality hit after that time. Or you know what? One that actually may work for you because it works for people with some height. Australian rules football.
I don't think I could do that. I'm thin. I am not gonna
take some of those hits.
I'm not gonna do well as a soon to be 26-year-old playing a contact sport.
Okay, so the contact sports aren't good to do.
No, punting. I look every time I watch football. I fantasize like college football. I fantasize. I'm like I could be Division I punter. That's like it used to be when I was a kid. I'd watch it. I'd be like I could be the quarterback, and then as I got older, I was like I could be a linebacker, and then like now it is like I still have that. I'm still holding on to that dream, but it's just so far down the line.
You'll reach it eventually. Okay, if with the epidemic of how kickers have been missing, there's opportunity for you opening up in that marketplace.
I don't think I could ever be a kicker. I could never. I played soccer when I was like when I was a teenager, and it can get I'm a toe poker. I can't get the form.
Oh, doing like the side of your foot, like having it swing through.
Yeah, it's a weird motion for me.
Yeah, like I guess what I've learned, some punchers, it's like you want it like a little just below the laces and stuff. So like when you kick it through, it like lifts it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least that's what I heard from the Ravens kicker Justin Tucker when he was on 60 Minutes and explaining it. It's like before I put it down, I will look at the exact pimples on the ball where I want to kick it.
That kick he had this year was incredible.
Oh, the one against the Lions?
Yeah, off the crossbar.
Oh, the one that went in for the record.
Yeah,
and it even was the record by like a few yards too.
Yeah,
to spare. That was insane.
And I think because I mean, like as a Broncos fan, almost every like longest field goal since Jason Elam's. I didn't see that one because I was too young, but just about every one I had seen because it happened in Denver.
Well, it was Janikowski and Prater were the two I thought.
Yep.
And then now we got or did someone else break it by a yard briefly? Or I guess no one did, so I guess it was Prater for a while. Prater and Janikowski had it.
Yeah, they because there was 3 people with the tie. I think Janikowski broke it. He had it with Jason Elam.
Yeah, 62, 63 he had. Yeah, I remember that because it was a Monday night game and it was right at half. I remember watching that.
I remember I watched this video all the time. I think it was right before Lane Kiffin, when he was about to get fired, he brought out Janikowski for a 70-some yard field goal at the end of the half, and it's just way short, and I love it.
Oh yeah, I remember the game. He was in a fuck it mood. I want to say that was that the Steelers it was facing, or I can't remember.
I think it was the Chargers.
Oh, Chargers. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember because. Yeah, they were already they were even a little bit past the halfway or the half line, at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
So in the opposing zone, kicking it from nonetheless.
Yeah.
And that's just where they're snapping the ball. So yeah, no, Lane Kiffin was weird. He had the thing where he thought it was going to be too hot outside, so he had the team at home wear white jerseys, and it was 70-something degrees.
Yeah.
We get spoiled in the Bay Area with weather. If it's below 50 or above 80, people complain.
It's because it never. It's kind of it is you stay pretty consistent year round, right?
Mediterranean climate, yeah. I mean that's the benefit of obviously California, but that's also why it's so damn expensive to live there.
Yeah,
because it's you have this constant weather round. It's never too bad. I mean, here it's really just the summers. If you could survive the summer, then this place is worth it.
And I mean, I like the summer now because it's cheaper golf. That's pretty much the only reason. But
with it, you could go to Troon Creek Golf Course or wherever they do the Waste Management Open. That course, it's $20, $50. You can do 18 holes when it's 110 outside.
Yeah, I do the cold towel. You put a cold towel around your neck, and it does make it manageable. I tell a lot of people that back home, and they say yeah, I can never do it. And yes, I had a round 2 summers ago. I forgot to put on sunscreen for the first 2 holes, just 2 holes, and end of it, I was beet red. And after that, I put on sunscreen probably 2-3 times throughout the round. My arm was blistered the next day, so it had full on it was covered in boils, and it was just disgusting. But that was from less than 30 minutes of being outside.
Just that brief period of time. But that's when it's so cheap. Then those places where it's normally a couple hundred to do 18 holes, it's now $50.
Yeah, I had a good round, so I was worth it. It really was.
He's was it really that bad? No.
Yeah.
The results showed for itself. The sun didn't stop me from getting those damn results.
Yeah, and you get it. Have you floating up in Montana was really big. So I used to always. Just about once a summer, my chest would get very burned because you float the river. You got you're
saying
just sitting on a tube.
Rafting. Oh yeah, or
tubing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't like rafting because it scares the hell out of me.
Oh, having to do the whole paddle while you're.
Well, when we were in Maine, what happened is
the survival story of Zach Allen.
So I did 2 rafting trips. They sent kids on a rafting trip, and because I was in trips, they would send me up to do it. And the first one went, it was fine. But the second one, we had a camper fall out of the boat, and
that's why the company probably has an insurance policy.
Yeah, but she got back in, and it wasn't they instructed us what to do, but it was one of those things. She fell out of the boat, and it just terrified me away from rafting because the rest of the day. I was just so panicked because I could not get the fact out of my head. I was that would have been the absolute worst thing to ever happen, if anything happened. So that was so scary.
You would have had to make an excuse that she got eaten by a bear or cartel member kidnapped her.
I didn't even know what I would do. That was I was yikes. That's a scary thing.
Then at that point, you tell the other campers it's hey, you're either all coming back or none of you are coming back. So
yeah.
look at her.
Well, what happened is like afterwards, the guy, he was like telling us stories about like how many people had died in like the river, and he was saying he's like, if your foot gets caught under a rock, at that point it becomes less about a rescue than more about a recovery. And I was like, you don't have to say this. Like, I mean, like you could have just been like, no, it's fine, happens all the time. Like, you did not have to say that. Just a rude thing.
It's just adding more, accentuating the story more. It's like, oh yeah, and if you do it past like a certain time, you'll freeze to death in there. And there's sometimes piranhas that swim around there.
Oh, that would have been worse. If we somehow were like, yeah, I know we're in Maine, we're gonna take it out to the Amazon. That's everyone knows that's the best rapids.
I know they say piranhas are only there in the Amazon, but let me tell you, there's an invasive species of piranhas out here in Maine.
Yeah.
The government hasn't told you because it's one of their classified secrets they keep within the CIA. They secretly have these colonies of piranhas in Maine just floating around, ready whenever we need to send them to attack Canadians or to go across the city to the British. They're on their way. How they would train them, I don't know exactly how.
Well, they have I don't know why this made me think of it, but they do have like there's a golf course in Maine, and it's like northern part on Canada. So you have to, like, half of it, or I forget, like the entrance is on the American side, but the course is in Canada. So like you have to cross the border, and I forgot what it is, whether or not it's like the Americans have to go through customs to get there, or the Canadians have to go through customs to get there. But it's like a weird thing where, like, just for like a brief minute, like you have to go through customs.
Oh, is it like if you go from one side of the border to the other, you get it, or is it certain citizens are the ones that get the customs?
Like, if you go from one side to the other, you have to go through customs.
Okay, so if you just switch to the side that you're not from, you gotta do customs. Okay,
yeah,
that's what it is. Well, at least with the U.S., you do it on the way over there, and you don't have to do it on the way back.
I think it's Canadians that they have to do it because the clubhouse is in the U.S. and then the rest of the course is in Canada.
Okay, yeah, that could make sense because maybe it has to deal with where the entrance is.
Yeah.
I could see that designated. I've never done golf too much, but I definitely do enjoy it because I've done it with a few friends going to courses or the driving range. And I'm not even just talking about Top Golf. I remember the best one. There was one in Scottsdale. It was like so cheap. It was like 180 balls, rent like 3 clubs, and get 2 Coors Lights in under $20.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was perfect.
That's one of my favorite things about here is like you can golf year round, and it's like I liked golf, but when I was up in Montana, I do it. But like since moving down here, it's been like, yeah, I mean, like I've got to do something where you can do it year round, like at least take advantage of it. Because like without it, it's just it's just hot. You got to find a way to enjoy it.
It's like, how else are you going to be in a green environment of nature?
Yeah.
It's like, you expect me to go to a botanical garden or something like that? No. Get out of here on the golf course. Luckily not a Florida golf course, so you don't have to worry about the gators. But I did see a video. It was like someone on a golf course in Scottsdale. I think it was a coyote running for some birds. There was like a flock of birds, and so they were like hiding underneath like the sand trap and darted out.
Yeah.
It was like, see, this is pure nature you get to see on the course. This is why I like it when they have animals just running everywhere.
We had last week I played out kind of like Fountain Hills area, and they had a coyote that was running across, and it was so cool. And it was so hot out, like we were able, like we had a ball like nearby it, so like it was just sitting out in the shade just watching us, and it was just like it was cool.
It was observing you.
It was telling us things.
It was trying to send you signals telepathically, or it was giving you warnings.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was feeling scared by you. Do you think it was feeling scared by you?
I think
intimidated.
I don't know. I don't think it would be scared of me. I think it would be scared of the cart. I think it probably was scared of me.
True. Actually, now that you say that about the cart, they probably like just hear that and just wonder what the hell is that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Have you seen a rattlesnake since you've been down here?
I think, once while hiking around that Papago Park area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it was more off to the side, so it's not like I was about to cross its path.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see it like in its not coiled up, like ready to to defend itself, but just like in a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of like trying to hide.
I still haven't seen one. That's some like when I first moved down here, I was like terrified of anything, and I'm still terrified of rattlesnakes. But like I saw more in my hometown than I have like down here, which is really weird to me. And I've talked to a lot of people still have not seen a rattlesnake, lived here all their life.
Over here, I think the snakes probably try to stay away from people more, whereas let's say scorpions, they don't give a fuck. They'll go wherever your residence is.
Right.
Yeah, because I've seen those a fair amount of the times. Not here, but like with other people's houses.
I had one, like I have an exterminator come and just like to set up like traps and anything like just for, because every once in a while cockroaches will get in the house.
Oh yes, or when it rains, if you're on the first floor of some place, they like to come through there.
Yep. So I got traps, and I do live near a hoarder, so that scares me a little bit. So, but last time or a couple times ago, he came by and there was a scorpion like just stuck in the glue trap, and it was scary. But I was so excited, like I was like ew, but I was excited.
I'm just imagining like you getting stuck. It's like, oh my god, scorpions are running through here. How long has this been happening?
Yeah, I did not sleep well that night. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like back home, like around where the trails are. Sometimes seeing snakes, not like a rattlesnake and stuff, but let's say like a one that's like about like 3 or 4 foot. I guess like a grass snake or whatever. Mm-hmm. Seeing those just sometimes go around. That yeah. I haven't seen one of like I know Gila monsters or something, but I guess they're a different part. Mm-hmm. Also, that one toad where you can get high off their secretion. That's the Sonoran River toad.
Have you seen one of those?
I've not seen the toad yet, although I heard they sometimes will near apartments, like the pools that are there, like when it does get raining or like very windy, and so like they move around, they'll go towards there.
Really?
Yeah, but I learned even though people think it's licking the toad, you're actually supposed to take the secretion and smoke it.
I think I'm gonna pass on that one.
Oh no, trust me. Like I don't blame you for passing. Apparently, it's very hallucinogen. Like I heard Mike Tyson talked about when he had it, and it's like you think you know everything, but you know nothing. And he just kept repeating on this. And I don't know why this was an interview, and they were showing like a graphic of him just like in his head, like just thinking about he thinks he knows everything, but he knows nothing.
I love that.
I have yet to do it yet. Maybe one day.
You got to find the toad.
Yeah, well, apparently you're not supposed to do it because the toad, I guess it's one of those endangered animals or protected animals.
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to grab them.
You just get a permit. Rather than like a hunting permit, they get like a drug permit.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's how all universities did it for years. It's like, this is for science and studying.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how to get away with anything you need to. Except with hurting children and murder. You probably can't do that in an experiment, or locking people up, a la Stanford prison experiment.
I do like learning about that. I was reading about that a lot during quarantine.
Oh, I remember I always liked reading like what makes it wrong and where did it all go wrong.
Yeah.
Like where did this become a not real study?
I think it's even weirder now because it's like 50 years later or something like that, and it's like those people like just went on with their life, and it's like. Huh. Like, I mean, like, you know what? I was part of that because it didn't take long. Like, it's not like it was like a year-long experiment or anything like that. It was like only like a couple weeks.
Or it was supposed to be 2 weeks, and after 1 week, it got stopped.
Yeah.
That one like lady who came in, I guess it was the guy conducting it, his fiance or like wife.
Yeah.
Like realizes like these people are pretty much trapped under here.
Yeah.
I know at Stanford, I guess they put like a plaque where it was conducted or something like that.
That's crazy.
It's like this is just like if there was a plaque for where Tiananmen Square happened, but they don't have that in China because it never happened there, according to them.
They got the Boston Massacre, though, in Boston.
Where that happened, yeah. Well, I'm sure because it's where the race is, so it's like, oh, yeah, towards the finish line. It's like, This is where it happened.
Yeah.
That one's a little easier because you just know it's like, oh, it's where it ends.
Yeah.
It was already, it was pre-memorialized.
Wait, no. I'm talking about like the like Boston Massacre.
Oh,
like
the Boston.
The plaque.
Oh, I was thinking the Boston Marathon. Oh yeah, the Boston Massacre. Oh yeah, where the redcoats shot those people, and that's where. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that they have commemorized. Hopefully, they also do the the Boston Tea Party, they have that commemorized with a plaque in some way.
Yeah.
Here, a bunch of colonialists decided to depict themselves in red face, dressing up as Native Americans in a way that would be considered culturally inappropriate now to break onto the ship. I wonder, were they just trying to like disguise it, or were they thinking like, hey, maybe we could shift blame to the natives if they think the natives are coming?
I don't know. We learned about that. It's been so long since I've even like heard anything about it.
Can you imagine the people who participated in it were like dressed up in what would now be considered racist native costumery?
Yeah, they'd be canceled. We wouldn't have a U.S.
We wouldn't be happy that they threw the tea over.
We'd be British. We'd love cricket.
Exactly.
Callback.
This would be a cricket nation, damn
Yeah.
it. There would be no nation for baseball, okay? It wouldn't have been passed to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico to use. It would have been cricket.
Well, I did hear that was one of the things in like the cricket documentaries. Like we tried to, like our colonies, like we tried like imposing like baseball on it, but a lot of them they just didn't want it. Like it was like basically like we were like, come on, like you'll love baseball, and then it's like no.
But where it did work, yeah, that's true. It didn't work where they pushed it, but where it did work where they had a lot of the army bases.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Well, I mean, originally Venezuela before Hugo Chavez came in.
Yeah.
But also, like, obviously, like, the Dominican Republic. I swear there's always Dominicans in baseball. If you see some guy who's from the Caribbean, Dominican. Or Cuban, obviously. Oh, Cubans love baseball.
I do love the World Baseball Classic. Like, that's, like, I like it because, like, it is basically like the World Cup. But I think it's also, too, like, one of the other sports where the U.S. is not, outside of, I mean, we have basketball. Hockey, it's kind of not so much us, but like...
Oh, also Japan, that was another one I just thought of. They're big into baseball.
They are, yeah. I love Seiya Suzuki. I've loved watching him for the Cubs.
Oh, the new guy they picked. Oh, definitely, yeah. It's like, please don't be a Kosuke Fukudome.
I liked Kosuke. He was fun.
I know, but he didn't reach the potentials.
He didn't, but...
That's what it was. Well, I mean, if you just want fun, why not just sign Munenori Kawasaki again? And it's like, we're always going to be fun.
Should have got Shohei. That's
Show Pony.
I love him.
Well, I mean, maybe in a few years when he hits free agency, they can try again.
That's what I do love about baseball is like it's one of those few sports you don't need a star player. Like I mean, like because you look at the Angels, they got Mike Trout and Shohei, like two of probably the most recognized players on the planet right now, outside of maybe like Aaron Judge. And
probably right now. Yeah, now that I think about it, because Mookie Betts probably isn't that well recognized, just in a general sense.
Yeah.
That is horrible. That has shown how unpopular baseball has become when Mookie Betts, who's probably a fairly decent player, cannot be recognized.
Yeah.
Or Max Scherzer, he's now on the disabled list for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't, even like vast majority, if this is like sad, but I mean, like if vast majority of the Diamondbacks players, if they were just walking next to me, I would have no idea who they are. Like, I mean, it's just, but then meanwhile, like, if any player on the Suns, like, stepped out, like, even, like, Jalen Smith, I know he's not on the Suns anymore, but granted, he is, like, 6'10", but, so he's a bad example.
I would say, if you saw Cam Jordan walking down the street, you would know it's Cam Jordan. Or, who was the African player? I was trying to remember his name.
Bismack Biyombo?
Yeah, Biyombo.
I love Bismack Biyombo.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's like if he was walking down the street with people like, well, see, I would recognize Cam Jordan only because of his hair. It's like that like stands out to me. Or what about JaVale McGee? Would you recognize JaVale McGee?
He's like 7 foot, so he'd stick out.
True, the really tall ones, him and Aiden would definitely.
Yeah.
Obviously, Booker does, but I feel like that it's kind of like he has like the hair. He's the light skin look.
Yeah.
He was always...
But he's like 6'7", too, so he'd stick out in an average environment.
True. I mean, I do have to realize that about basketball players sometimes, because obviously you see a guy like Steph Curry, and I look at him and I think, oh, I'm probably about his height, but no, he's 6'3".
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
Well, like when I played my freshman year in college, and like a lot of my friends were like 6'8", 6'7", so like I'd go out with them. And it was just really weird because, like, I was, like, definitely, like, the shortest one in the group most of the time. And then, you know, transferred schools just wasn't playing sports. But, like, I was, like, always, like, they called me tall guy. Like, I was, like, far and away, like, the tallest guy in the group. So it was just, like, and then whenever I'd go back to see, like, my old college friends, like, it was just, like, just complete change just in the social setting.
I somewhat like that because you still know you're tall. Because I had that when I was next to Josh Harrison and Shoe Deer, where it's like, yeah, they're like taller than me and stuff, but it's like, you know what? I'm still 6 feet. This isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like I'm like some 5'2", 5'3" guy and I'm just having to look up at everyone. It's like, oh, I get to feel short for one of the few times.
Yeah.
Hey.
I love it.
Exactly that. But our, what was it? I think, was it basket? Oh, yeah, with basketball, the heights of them. Yeah, obviously because they're taller and such. And I mean, obviously it doesn't mean, as you can see from some players, that just a little over 6 feet you can be good. But obviously you want to be like probably at least 6.5 feet tall, I assume, for basketball.
Yeah.
You want to be at least.
It depends on position, though. There's definitely, and then like speed and like athleticism.
Yeah, sure.
Like you don't have to necessarily jump out of the gym, but you do got to be athletic. Like you got to have that vertical quickness.
Hand-eye coordination.
Yep.
Probably is definitely a thing because it's like, hey, are you going to be consistent? Are you going to do a freaking Ben Simmons thing and you're going to be a liability? Or freaking James Harden towards the end with the 76ers?
Yeah. I will say, as a Thuggets fan, I mean, I respect Joel Embiid. I like Joel Embiid. I just don't have as much fun watching the Sixers play basketball. Because it's a lot of free throws. Like, I mean, like, you can't fault them for, like, taking advantage of the rules. And, I mean, like, I'm not a passionate enough sports fan where I'm going to be, like, hating other grown men just because they play a game. But, I mean, like, it is, I will say it's just not as fun to watch, for me, at least.
When it becomes just a free throw thing. Well, isn't that why they made that rule adjustment this year to where they don't call it as much? Yeah,
but I mean, it still happens. You know, there's definitely still times. It used to be really bad. Like, I mean, last year it was.
So now it's just inconsistent. It's not like as badly being called, but it's just still inconsistent.
I think it's gonna get better, but it's got to.
Oh, really?
They definitely got to stay consistent with it.
Come on, Adam Silver, get this figured out. You need to help solve this problem for the National Basketball Association.
NBA.
It's the NBA. Also, you need to promote the Sacramento Kings more.
Are you a Kings fan?
No.
Or you're a Nuggets fan, right?
Yeah, with that. Well, my cousins, I have them in Sacramento, so I kind of saw when the Kings were good for a while.
Yeah.
And now how they've just been bad.
Yeah.
But their new stadium's actually pretty nice. In fact, I think they actually do a lot of the state high school basketball tournaments there instead of the Chase Center in San Francisco.
So, like the northern part of the state, they all play up in Sacramento?
Yeah, I mean, partially because it's state capital is there, so it's kind of like symbolic of it. But I know like when I did wrestling, the state tournament for that was like in Bakersfield or Fresno. And those two places make Sacramento look like freaking Versailles.
Yeah.
I mean, because I compare Sacramento to here and stuff. Like, there's no real. It's nothing really better or worse Sacramento or here. And to be honest, it's cheaper here, so maybe this has a little edge over it.
It's cheaper here than Sacramento?
Slightly more. I mean, because the thing is with Sacramento, it's like 2 hours east you're in Reno, 2 hours west you're in San Francisco.
Right.
So they have that access to those cities and stuff in different states. But like the weather, it'll have those days where like you walk outside and it feels like when you open an oven, like that wave of heat just hits you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck this.
Because it's in that valley like atmosphere, right, too?
Yeah, between because it's like where the mountains, the Sierra Nevada, and because that will block a lot of like the snow, the winds that come over from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the ones that are more west, those mountains block the winds that come in from the ocean.
Yeah.
Because when you have that ocean exposure, I swear all the time you feel like wind. I didn't realize it until I've gone back home. Wind is always like there's always wind.
Yeah.
Here, I'm amazed when there's ever wind. Like at night, you feel like just even a slight breeze, and like, oh, there's wind here.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't believe it with that stuff.
Yeah.
I never got exposed to snow though. I never had that. Like you probably definitely did.
Have you ever been in snow?
I have, yes, because I remember doing a ski trip with my dad to this place that was in Colorado, like a little northwest of Denver. And yeah, that mountain town, it definitely was snowing the first day a fair amount. And when you arrive the first day and it's 0 degrees outside, it's like,
yeah.
Why did I leave Phoenix in the winter for this?
Yeah. Well, I went up to I grew up like skiing a lot, so I went up to Flagstaff this year. I did a day skiing and then came back down.
Oh yeah, did you go with other comics?
I went over with JC, yeah.
Oh, you went or with with the one who Improv Mania.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I was trying to like remember.
And so then we drove back down that day.
Did Matt Weir also go to that one, or he went to something different? Because I saw other people doing it. Like Hector was also there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think there was someone else on the mountain that day. I can't remember. But so yeah, so I came back down. We came back down, and like it was like 5-6 o'clock, and I was like, there's a driving range still open. So I went out and I just went and played golf. So it was just cool, like being able to ski, play golf in the same day.
Hell yeah!
I was so excited.
See, now that's freaking potential. God damn it! Why can't more places like that ski and do driving range?
Yeah.
And yeah, driving range. It's definitely more relaxing, I will say, because how you have to coordinate everything with being on a course.
Yeah.
It's like you're either on or off that day. And if you're off, you'll be frustrated and want to just chuck your clubs out into the sky. But then you're like, oh, no, I have to be professional here. Even though there's some guy who's working for a hedge fund a few holes away smashing his clubs because he chipped it.
I try to definitely hold it in, but I have definitely had some times where I've been a little child.
Yeah, because it's like you think you're like going through the flow. You think you're going through the motions that does work. That's worked before. And it's like, why is it not fucking working today? This is horrible.
Yeah.
It's like you feel so much anger. It's like you could drown a kid like Casey Anthony.
Jesus.
It's just you feel that.
I love it.
Yeah, what's out there, and I mean, obviously, it's something you want to enjoy all the time, but I've heard certainly from people when they take it serious and they try to improve, it's just those frustrating motions.
Mm-hmm.
But that's honestly kind of like a comedy in itself as well. The frustrating motions. Oh, I think this bit's gonna work. You tell it someplace it bombs. Everyone looks at you like you just killed a pigeon. It's like, what is this?
It's just, it's a lot of trial and error. That's my favorite thing about it, but it's also probably my least favorite thing about it is like I like having to go through and like figure out like what is funny, and then also being able to figure out like whether or not it's funny to the masses or if it's just like funny to like a small group.
Yeah, you wonder, was it just this night it was funny, or is there an element of this which does cross amongst a general population?
That was the big thing I ran into with open mics is a lot of times like I would, especially like when I was starting out, like the things that would get the biggest laughs at open mics would typically be like the worst laughs in front of normal people. And then it was like kind of vice versa, like the stuff that just did kind of like okay was like it would still kind of have to have like somewhat of a laugh for me to like pursue it, and then like taking it to a regular stage, I'm like, this is not what I expected.
You get a better reaction than you would expect from a bit. Or if you had those where sometimes in like one set you have two new bits, and one you think, oh, this is definitely going to be a good bit and get a laugh, and it's like pretty dull. But then you have another one which you think it's just like a filler bit, but it gets a much larger reaction, maybe even one of your bigger ones of your set that night.
Yeah, I think it just kind of depends. I think it also does, I don't know, like it's like the performance piece, which I've kind of started thinking a little bit more about. I used to be very like monotone, very stand in one space. So I've kind of started, expanding a little bit, trying to be a little bit more.
Exactly. Well, it's like you have the same like cadence of voice, but you do like raise your voice at certain times when it's part of the bit. Like where you do the one about what is it, white people lingo.
Yeah.
Yes. We won't put that out on here, but when you give the punchline to that, it's like you then just start emphasizing it.
Yeah.
And that's a good one to end off on because it's like you then get that energy to like just straight back up.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of low. It's like shoot back up.
Yeah.
Get a reaction.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun art.
It's a fun thing to try, and it's fun to see how other people sometimes do, whether it be from the horrible acts to the really good acts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just about like sticking with it, I think, for the most part, because like if you stick with it long enough, you'll learn enough. You'll be able to like add enough,
material. Yeah, because you've really progressed. Like, I know you've moved on to the semifinals with the best comedian with a day job thing, but you've also opened up for some pretty interesting acts at the clubs, right? Like, what was the one, Bobcat, what was his name?
Goldthwait. Yeah.
Goldthwait, yes, that one. Like, I saw that one, it's like, oh, shit, this is actually a prominent name.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's kind of, it's definitely not the end goal, but it's like, it's cool. I mean,
that's just a short-term accomplishment. It's like, man, you got stuff beyond that and stuff. It's like, you're also young too. It's like, this ain't the end. It's like, if you think the train stops here, fuck no. It's like, we're taking this all the way to Buenos Aires, Argentina, if we have to drag it that far. All right, straight to the top. No, I do like that because you've been obviously experienced those different places and stuff. Like you were saying, Montana, and then you were doing the Maine stuff, and then you were at the Iceland, and then you're also like living here. It's like shit.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I definitely want to live somewhere else at some point, but I think Phoenix is a good place kind of for right now where I'm at.
Yeah, it's good for like the period of time, like an indefinite living. Like it's not like, oh, I plan to live here for the rest of my life, but it's like I have no plans to go anywhere else for the time being.
Yeah,
which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know some people, including that have less experience than me, are always already trying to think, when am I gonna move to New York?
Yeah.
I gotta see when I'm gonna get there, and I'm just thinking in my head is like, man, I need to put at least in 3 to 5 years before I think about progressing like that. It's like, because I don't know, slow development, it's slow improvement.
But I mean, like when I was first starting out, I was definitely hell bent on like either going to LA or New York. Like my initial plan was like to drop out and just like move and just go for it, but it was, I don't know. And then like also at the same time, like I submitted to Just for Laughs comedy festival after like a month of doing stand up, and I was disappointed when I didn't get in. So I mean, like it's definitely like one of those things. Like I think when you're starting off, you definitely have like kind of like the right idea, and your head's kind of in the right place, but it's just you definitely, there's a lot more to learn with it for sure.
That's why I thought the whole patient thing, like there's no shame in being an open micer for a while before actually starting to get more of these book spots. Because then it's better than being one of those person that starts getting booked a few months in, and then a year or two less later they're no longer around because they peaked too early. Get that slow growth. Find that you actually like it. Be in those places where you have to be at JP's open mic at 11:39 at night, and you're in a horror show. You're wondering what the hell's going on. You're like the second to last person to perform. There's like 4 people in the audience. It's like, but if you somehow still want to come back after that, maybe we're all just still a little more insane like we are.
Yeah, I mean, like something that was told to me kind of like when I don't know if it was when I moved down here or when I forgot where it was, but it's like basically there's no set blueprint, there's no path. You got to kind of figure out like what works for you.
Exactly.
And I mean that's kind of what it is.
Well, it's like more like some of the skills you have kind of like God-given talent, but then there's also the work you put into it, because obviously some people have talent but they don't put in work. And then there's also the opportunities. It's like, will you be ready when those opportunities hit? Because some people don't get those opportunities. Some people get a lot of opportunities. And it just depends if you're ready. Like, you got that opportunity doing the club spot, so that's definitely good. Did the club reach out to you for that, or did Bobcat do?
No, it was the club.
Okay, the club. That's how it seems with most people here. It's like the club has contacts with people where if some act needs an opener, they get them. But that's like so tremendous with that. Good to know. And we did pass the hour mark. Okay, good. So we could wrap this up, but we'll bring all the information. So on social media, Zach from Montana. God damn it, any other Zachs from Montana, they better somehow slightly change their name to be different. And yeah, best comedian with a day job. This will be out before that next semifinal show, which is this Tuesday, which would be the. And now I'm trying to think in my head.
It's 24th. The 7th is when the finals is.
Oh, the finals, but the semifinals.
So I'm in the finals.
Oh yeah, you were. Crap. Now I was remembering. Last week you were. Yeah, because you got first place. You were with Subcheck. I got to remember that. And then it was Sandra and Zayd. Shit. Okay. I don't know why I thought you were in the upcoming round, but now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my dumb. Well, I have used too much controlled substances to forget that of just the past week and stuff. Yeah, and that Zach and others. A funny guy who performs all over the valley. That honestly, that would definitely be like a title if like you put it for yourself. A funny guy who performs all over the valley. Because that's just that's the title for everything. Like with me, it's just I don't know, insane in the membrane or something like that. But anyway, it was good to be joined by you, Zach. He's performing also tonight. Great family fun. If you'll definitely love his show. If you go see him perform, you'll get your comedy boner on, and he has a 100% success rate if you bring a date and you decide to go fucking later that night. Yeah. Sweet. All right, thanks so much for that.
No problem.